Transportation is always a tricky thing because it's what we use to get places, but it's just what we use to get places. Like, we don't really appreciate, I think, the amount of time that goes into our transportation. So, at Stanford, I think there's a hierarchy of transportation, and it needs to be analyzed a little bit. First, the kings are the bikes. That's my favorite, and I'll tell you why. And then second are maybe people, pedestrians, and then third are cars. So yeah, bikes are the kings, and they can do whatever they want, wherever they want, and they don't really need to regard other people. Cars are like completely down. They're like the low servants. Like, they can't do anything. Like, why would you have a bike on this campus? And then people, they kind of are like in between. Like, they can cross streets, but only if a bike's not coming. And I guess a car would stop for them, but still. I've had a lot of pretty good biking experiences. I've learned how to bike in a skirt, holding my skirt down. These bikes are more like chairs than mountain bikes, so you basically sit in them instead of like riding them, which makes it a little bit easier to bike all around campus. I kind of like the bikes that I rode in Japan when I was staying with my host family, because we all had to sit like in chairs basically with their skirts in these bikes. I guess they're called commuter bikes. And you can hold an umbrella when you bike, which is pretty cool. You have enough balance to do that. We learned in physics that the reason that you're so stable on bikes is because it's really difficult to turn the wheel like this when they're turning by itself. So that was kind of cool. It has to do with angular momentum, if you want to look it up. And so they're pretty stable, but you can also get into a lot of like bad problems. Like, my IHUM teacher was telling us a story one day that she sits in her office and looks out the window, and the window looks down on this intersection that has a post in between, like a ramp that goes from the road onto a sidewalk, and so people always have to go through that little ramp and escape the post. And so one day there was a kid riding, and he had a cell phone, and then he had a latte or something, and obviously he could ride a bike without hands, right? And then he was also like carrying in his arm right here a bunch of books, so it's just like talking like this, la-di-da-di-da, and like going towards the post and like knowing he's gonna have to go down the ramp. Nobody ever runs into the post, but they always almost run into someone else, and that causes them to swerve, and that's usually fine if they're not holding a bunch of stuff, right? And so he got so close, and all of a sudden two other people came going towards the post really fast, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And so this kid who was holding way too much stuff like dropped everything and swerved, and I guess he didn't get hurt, but like it was a tremendous crash. So pretty crazy bike stories, and I still like it a lot. Like, it's really easy to get places. This campus is huge, and so it's like you definitely need a bike. And even in Anchorage, I love biking places because Anchorage has a lot more hills than Stanford does, and so once you get to the top of the hill, you can just like go down it as fast as you can. But also in Anchorage, you can ski, which definitely trumps biking. I'm sorry, bikers. Skiing is awesome. And I don't think you can cross-country ski everywhere, although some of my friends here are trying to convince me that yes, Anchorage always has snow, so you can always ski. That is so not true. But if it's like really snowy and like good weather, I can ski around the lake and ski like other places, and I really like it. So that's what I had in mind about transportation. I'm sorry it was so confusing for the rest of you girls. Have a good week. Bye.